Today is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. My name is Miss Scott, a current resident of the Parkside Estates. Today, I was denied my resident rights in accordance with Resolution 18-08-01 amended. Reason being, the Inkster Housing Commission has a new, well, not so new. They, as it was explained to me, they have a comment policy where you have to pre-register, basically, whether you show up in person or not, by 5 o'clock the day of the meeting or sooner. Anything after 5 o'clock, like 5:01 p.m., will go into the next month meeting. So I thought that was very interesting that, that's good for the people that's disabled, and handicapped, can't get off work, don't have a babysitter, don't have transportation, and they still want to express their voice during a meeting, a community meeting at Inkster Housing. That's a good, outlet or way for them to go. But I would have never thought that it applies to a resident or a non-resident, dealing with the public comments. If you show up in person the day of, that it still applies for you to fill out the application prior to speaking. Anyhow, the week of March 25th until April 12th, the Inkster Housing contractors came out to do a housing inspection for carbon monoxide and smoke detectors, and to replace the old ones with new ones, and to address any other major repairs as needed. The following week, a little over the following week, I believe it was the week of April 9th, when I called DTE thinking that the vacant unit next door to me, I was smelling gas fumes from. But to my surprise, when DTE came out, they asked, could they come into my unit and inspect my unit as well, because they did not detect anything from the vacant unit I called on. And as he was doing the test, the detector just went off. It just sound alarm. And he showed me where the leak was. It was over the water tank. And I said, how could that be when Inkster Housing Contractors just came out a week before and checked for any gases? I would think carbon monoxide is a gas, along with smoking, with fire, with the smoke detectors. And they said they will address any other major repairs. And I said, I don't see how they can miss that, because I smelt it, but all along I thought it was the vacant unit. I never would have thought it was my unit. And I said, is it something, I asked the DTE technician, is it something that Inkster Housing did? And he said, no. He said, but I don't see why they didn't smell it, or see it, because it's a big leak. It's been leaking for a while. And he said, he asked me to go upstairs, and open up all the windows. And he said, it's a wonder that, I'm still talking to him or whatever, because he smelled the fumes when he came in. And the detector went off, and he told me, he said, you must got some guardian angels. He was like, because if you would have came down here and lit a match, anything that spark, a cigarette, got on your cell phone, anything, he said this would have lit up like the 4th of July. And I just stood there froze in amazement and just thinking that, as I was that close to death, me and my son, and didn't even know it, when I thought all along we were in a safe, a safe unit, a safe home, which is our home, because Inkster Housing just came out. They're the experts, or whatnot, with their contractors. And wow, I'm still counting my blessings. But I did report it. I put in a complaint, and I also called the councilwoman for District 1, and I also reached out to resident council president and vice chair of the Board of Commissioners as well. I also put in a complaint with HUD central office down at the federal building downtown. A Miss Carmen Jones called me back, but we kept playing phone tag. So I never really talked to her, other than tell her that I did get her message. And that, even though the problem, was fixed by the hands of DTE, what about, the longevity of it? Me and my son was inhaling those fumes, Is no telling if they laced our, laced our lungs or brain cells, or they could stay dormant, on our lungs and brain cells, and then one day turn into cancer. So no, it's not over, and how come, that Inkster Housing contractors didn't catch that? So I told her on the message, no, I would like to still put in a major complaint with that. That could have cost me and my son's life. And then also I spoke with a Miss, I believe, Michelle King. She said she was an engineer for the main central office at the federal building, HUD. And she said basically it was my nose. And if my nose smelled gas, I supposed to call DTE. And I said yes, but we don't, as a resident, we didn't know the protocol. Only thing I knew that Inkster Housing had a maintenance emergency line, for someone to come out. But to my surprise, they told me to call DTE. So I called DTE. When DTE got here, he said he couldn't fix it. Only thing he can do is turn the gas off and report it to Inkster Housing, and they're going to have their contractors or whatever come out here and fix it. But seeing that I didn't have anywhere to go other than sleep in my car, because it was going on like 12 midnight, he said he's going to try to fix it, the DTE tech, and he did fix it. So, but he, told me to leave the windows open, in my bedroom all night, so some air ventilation can get up in there, because the house was filled with fumes. So I did bring it to the interim executive director at Inkster Housing. I'm still waiting for her to get back with me. Hopefully we can do a hearing soon with the whoever needs to sit at the table about this situation that could have been tragic easily. And I say it again, Inkster Housing Commission tried to kill us. Literally, I can say that, because they did. That was like a live ticking bomb ready to explode. House full of fumes, never knew. Inkster Housing contractors came out, never said anything. And then Miss Michelle King, fixed her mouth, and in my amazement, to say, oh, it's 3 different type of gases. It's a carbon monoxide gas, it's a smoke fire gas, and it's other gases. oh, and she said, our checklists do not cover the furnaces. And I said, excuse me? She said, we didn't come out there to check the furnaces. We specifically said the carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. I said, ma'am, that's still in the gas family, explosion, fire, get it? Family. And I said, well, let me ask you this. If the furnace and the water tank were to become, broken or whatever and need to be replaced, who replaced them? She said, we do. I said, who is we? She said, Inkster Housing, replaces them. And I said, well, whoop, there it is. So if you guys replace the water tank and the furnace, you have to determine that it's an issue that, that caused it to malfunction, correct? So you would have to be checking for fumes and leaks and stuff to determine to replace it. So she just got quiet. And she said, once again, they was not responsible for, checking the furnace that day. They were just coming in for the carbon monoxide and smoke detector. So that's what I wanted to say on this video, since I was denied my resident right to speak it in a public forum for public comments with resolutions 18-0801, since I didn't pre-register with the comment policy that they have. So I thought that I will put that out there. So if anyone wants to put in a public comment in the future, make sure you pre-register with the comment policy first, 30 days in advance. Or if it's the day of the meeting, make sure you have your comments in by 5:00 p.m. Once it turns 5:01 p.m., you have to wait till the following month to be heard. Okay? They only give you 2 minutes in person. 2 to 3 minutes in person. And I guess 2 to 3 minutes if they're reading your comment for you via satellite. Thanks for listening.